You're watching Access Minnesota. Here's Jim Dubois.
More on the relationship between advertising and evolution with Carlson School of Management professor Vladas Griskevicius. Advertisers now have the ability to mine an extraordinary amount of data on each of us as individuals. On Facebook, for example, they can see pages that we like and make some assumptions about our needs, our wants, our desires. So we can be suggested certain items. How is that data that advertisers are gathering going to cause us to perhaps spend more than we ever have in the past, simply because it almost seems like the advertiser knows what we want?
So the ultimate goal of an advertiser, if an advertiser could control the world, what it would want to know is, right now, what do you want? This very second, what do you want? It's part of the reason that companies like Google are so successful and profitable. You are typing into Google exactly what you're thinking about right now. And advertisers use that information, so, oh, he typed in leather shoe. Let me show you a leather shoe. And you're more likely to buy that leather shoe because that's exactly what you're thinking about. So the better technology becomes, the better advertisers and marketers get at reading your mind at every single instant, the more they could offer you things that you want right now. And you wouldn't be human if you don't want those things that are put right in front of you, because that is exactly what you want at the time. The challenge is going to be, if you don't want to be in debt all the time and always spending everything, is to say, do I really want this product right in front of me, or is there something bigger that I want? Is there a need that I'm trying to meet? And almost always the case is there's something underneath that product. It's not the product itself. It's what evolutionary need that product is helping you meet, like retaining that wonderful relationship with your wife. And you got to realize at the end of the day, you don't need products to achieve those goals that our ancestors achieved for millennia. Advertisers want you to buy the products, but you have the choice. You have the choice to say no, say I have other ways to meet those very same needs.
Do you foresee any sort of potential consumer backlash over the data that advertisers are gathering and the way they're using this data? It's one thing to see a TV commercial. You can tune that out. You can ignore that. But if you're actually interacting online, it's somewhat more difficult to ignore those messages. Would there be a potential pushback from consumers, say, against the platforms that are delivering these messages, like a Facebook?
You know what's interesting to me as a teacher of advertising and marketing is I'm very concerned about the things that you just said. I don't want Facebook to know anything about me, because I know that they're going to use that information to try to trick me and manipulate me in various ways. But what I don't see is the students that I teach rarely look at it the same way. What they see is other companies caring about them enough to know their preferences and to make life so convenient that things are customized and personalized just for you. You're special, and someone is going out of their way to make you feel special. So ultimately, I don't think there is going to be a consumer backlash, because it's not exactly what some of the older generations think. It's not an invasion of privacy. It enables others to better serve your needs. And everybody loves having their needs served, and they'll even pay a little bit extra for that feeling of being special.
Given what you've learned through your research, do you have any advice for people on how they can better mitigate their savings and spending habits?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, one thing to take away from all this, to understand humans and what motivates us, is to realize that money is a relatively new invention. Okay, throughout our evolutionary history, our ancestors did fine without spending lots of money, without going into debt. So what's going on today? Why are people not managing their money very well? They're making decisions that aren't very good for them. And what you have to realize is, why are you spending that money? And the reason we spend the money is the same across all the world. We want to attract romantic partners. We want to be safe. We want to be healthy. We want to have good friends. We want to care for our children. And oftentimes, the product that you're buying is just helping you achieve that goal. But it's not the only way to achieve that goal. So think about something like buying diamond rings from De Beers. De Beers has a campaign saying, you've been married for 10 years, show your wife you really love her by buying that really expensive ring. She already has an engagement ring, spend more money on diamonds. And if you're a good husband, you might feel the urge saying, I really need to let my wife know I love her by buying her that expensive ring. But it's a bit of an illusion. You don't need the ring. The goal you're trying to meet is to retain the stable relationship. And you can achieve just as much by sitting down with her, telling her a heartfelt, I love you, and the reasons why you love her. You don't need to spend to achieve the needs that all of our ancestors have achieved before. So there's an easy way to save money. It's to understand why you're buying things in the first place, and that you could achieve those exact same evolutionary needs without spending a penny.
Vladas Griskevicius is the McKnight Associate Professor of Marketing and Psychology at the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota. He has a new book written in conjunction with a colleague of his, Douglas Kendrick, called The Rational Animal: How Evolution Made Us Smarter Than We Think. Professor Griskevicius, thanks so much for joining us again on Access Minnesota.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
That's all for this month's edition of Access Minnesota. We'll see you again next month. Thanks for watching.
Access Minnesota. Issues that matter to you. Join us again next week as we bring you the newsmakers and stories that shape our everyday lives. Access Minnesota is produced by the Minnesota Broadcasters Association in cooperation with the University of Minnesota's College of Liberal Arts.